today is the 22nd of December 2020. Welcome to Good Morning Africa. Welcome to the Newspaper Review segment. Welcome to the greatest morning show on the continent Africa. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso, and this is certainly the Newspaper Review segment where we are going to try to deal with the most important issues that are circulating around on social media, circulating around on traditional media, and all other tabloids. This morning, we are going to have a conversation that will, in the end, improve the democratic credentials of our dear nation, Ghana. Now, I am excited about this morning for a number of reasons, because the Christmas is fast approaching, and I hope and pray that today I will get my Christmas present, I beg your pardon, from Gabriela Tete, Sakasalia, and Soprano. Whether they like it or yes, I am getting whatever it is that you spend. You will make sure that we enjoy the full benefit of whatever you spend. Nonetheless, I want to also extend a voice of gratitude to all our cherished viewers across the length and breadth of this country, particularly the silent viewers of Pan-African television. I know that there are many of you out there who watch Pan-African television, but who have decided not to either send a message or let us know they're watching. To the silent majority who have been watching the morning show from when we started till today, we appreciate you. We want to encourage you to continue to watch the morning show. We want to encourage you to continue to share with us what your thoughts are. We want to continue to admonish that you share with us, whatever it is that you can share with us in order for us to have a very progressive nation. Now, let me quickly take you through the topics, and then I've already introduced my panelists, but I'll do that officially so we can kickstart the conversation. So the African story, Rwanda deploys protection force in car. Daily Graphic reported this particular story on page 5. Kofi Palu accused of defrauding LPG parliamentary candidates. That's on the front page of the Inside newspaper. Interesting. And it gets interesting by the day. The post-facto elections has been very interesting. So we are in interesting times, and definitely I think it's imperative that we delve always deeper into the post-election matters that have arisen. We are definitely going to touch on this one. NPP fingers NDC over market fires. I found it to be very ludicrous, but well, I'm sure there's some level of justification in this allegation leveled against the NDC. Primarily, I'm sure, owing to the defiance, the positive defiance, if you will, by the NDC in disagreeing vehemently with the declaration made by the Electoral Commission in respect of the 2020 polls. And it stands to reason that the MPP will point accusing fingers at the NDC because, that is politics for you. You always must make sure that you find somebody to put your burden on and blame so that you can score some beautiful political points from it. We're going to be interrogating this particular issue, whether or not you recall that in 2015 a similar thing occasioned, whether or not the NPP at the time was also involved in that, because I don't think that anybody leveled any allegation against the NPP at the time. Let's find out whether, because they are the masters of the game, they have found it very useful at this material moment to draw from their experiences in order to make some political gains from this particular incident that is happening. NPP condemns burning of markets. We will marry these two topics and address same here on the show. I've been joined in the studios by Sakasalia. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kwame.
I don't know whether I should say I love your new look, or I think you look good when you have a little beard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to look at that.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah, we have to look at that.
There you are, my brand ambassador. we need to look at it.
Yeah, I promote you everywhere I go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but you look good too. Your African print is on point.
Yeah,
I love it.
Thank you.
Gabriela Tete is also here seated. I don't know whether I should call her the eagle of Owusu Senya. I think East or West?
Owusu Senya West.
West. The eagle of Owusu Senya West. She has a bird's eye view of the constituency and was in complete control of events during the elections. How are you? Okay. I didn't think you were this strong. I thought you were a very calm, cool, collected person. I don't know you'd be stubborn pass.
But I'm calm, cool, collected.
But you don't like the latter part. No. So Brother Sapon Sylvester is also here. And the first time Soprano and Saka met, it was fire. You know, let me tell you, these people, the FKK before coming on, I was not part. I'm not part of the KK Eaters Association of Pan-African TV. So it was Gabi, Saka, and then Soprano. They ate the KK. 10 balls of KK this morning. So if there's no fire or smoke belching through the voices of Saka and Soprano, you should appreciate why they've enjoyed themselves this morning. Right. Good morning to you, sirs and madam.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Let's quickly start off with the African story, as has always been the case. Let me start with you, Soprano. Rwanda deploys protection force in car. Yes, sir.
Thank you and good morning. And nice to meet you again, Gabriela. I like your dress. You're looking hot today. Thank you. Frankly. And hot. Hot.
In the middle of a storm, you can mistake a window for a door.
Saka, I like your shirt.
Saka, when Daria is going around the house, he's looking for the landlord. Right,
yes, sir. Rwanda, the Rwandan story, the African story, Rwanda deploys protection force in car. I think this is a very, very interesting development, Kwame. Very, very interesting development. And when you read the story, further, you find out that Russia apparently has also sent some forces per certain bilateral arrangements the government of the Central African Republic has with Russia. This is very, very important for me for two reasons. Kwame, I'll look at the Russian angle first. Okay, you see, Russia is in Central African Republic in a big way. By the grace of God, I would say. Because if it were not for the presence of Russia in the Central African Republic, there would be genocide occurring there, frankly. And for some reason, the traditional intervention forces or the Western interest have not shown adequate interest in Central African Republic. One wonders if it's because they don't have enough resources for them to exploit. Because if they had oil there, for instance, I'm sure America and Sarkozy and Barack Obama would have sent some people there to go and kill the leader and drag him around in a cold room like they did to His Excellency Muammar Gaddafi. Nevertheless, Kwame, take note that Russia actually, if they don't own that radio station, they are big on radio in Central African Republic, where there is actually a Russian language program and they teach Russian on radio. They are big like that, and people are speaking Russian in Central African Republic. I'm saying that the history of Russia has not been too, I would say positive in Africa. That is Russia's participation in African politics, for lack of a better description. Let me elaborate, Kwame. You know that in Ghana in 1966, before the coup d'etat occurred, there were Russian special forces in Ghana supporting the government of the CPP government led by President Kwame Nkrumah. Indeed, if you remember, the Russians were even, sending in a nuclear reactor for the Kwabenya atomic energy facility, and which reactor was. I understand the Danko Abuzia and President Edward Ekufuado and his friends gave the reactor away to the Americans. But the point is that Russia did not show up for President Kwame Nkrumah in a way we would have expected, because you see, needless to say, the coup d'etat, organized by General Efrifa and Kotoka, was an illegal activity, and one would have expected the Russian special forces in Accra at that time to have, prevented the occurrence of the coup d'etat. My money is that President Nkrumah himself, he had good, allies who would back him up, but they didn't. And then you take a look, you see that Russia also sort of walked away from Congo in regards to the Lumumba issue. Lumumba was banking on the Russians to support him, and they let him down. So in Africa, Russia has not been what we call a reliable political partner, so to speak, since the 1960s, as I'm describing. But now, post-Soviet Union, under the leadership of His Excellency, the remarkable president of Russia, in the person of President Vladimir Putin, who has made Russia such a great country. President Putin has changed the trajectory. Remember, he was a no-nonsense leader with regards to the Chechenian uprising. There were some Islamist people in Chechnya who tried to dislocate the Russian economy. They bombed underground subways, etc. And President Putin simply shut them down. You understand? In a very strong, powerful way. You also see Putin, you also see President Putin emerging from what I call the Russian slumber. When you take a look at what happened to Russia in Afghanistan, Russia was forced to withdraw from Afghanistan with their tail between their legs. But if you look at President Putin now and Russia, and you look at the strong action that President Putin is taking in Syria, if it was not because of President Putin's action in Syria, that place would be worse than Iraq right now. Not to say it's much better, but it would have been a serious hell. One thing that President Putin, I think I heard him say that one of the reasons why he intervened in Syria was because of the behavior of President Barack Obama and the British, and then President Sarkozy, who is under criminal investigation in Russia, when they convinced Russia that they wanted to intervene in Misrata, in Libya, Benghazi, when the Benghazians attacked the president, the leader of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, and Muammar Gaddafi sought to retaliate against them to suppress the uprising. America and France went to the Security Council and they got Russia to agree that they wanted to intervene to protect human life. And then they went into Libya and destroyed Libya. So as for President Barack Obama, that's why in Libya they call him talking Obama. He just talk, and he simply devastated Libya. President Obama didn't really do any good for Africa, if you ask me. You cannot compare him to, say, President George Bush, who, if nothing at all, built a highway in Ghana. But as for President Obama, he just talked a lot. Very nice talking. Okay, so we appreciate that Putin went into Syria. Okay, and now he is in the Central African Republic. This is a very, very important development for those of us, watching.
But let's read the story and appreciate why the deployment of the troops.
Yes, sir.
It appears that the deployment of the troops to Central African Republic is as a result of the allegation that some Rwandan troops have always been an attack, have always been targeted by armed groups in Central African Republic.
Sure.
And so it informed their decision to want to do that, particularly also because they're going into the 2020 December 27th elections.
In Rwanda?
No. In
Central African Republic.
So I think it's, it's a mixed bag of reasons, right? But I think the fundamental issue has got to do with the fact that every time their troops are being targeted and every time they are being, killed and maimed.
Kwame,
now,
Mr. Kigali,
one would also want to, we need to situate this issue.
Sure.
The allegation has also been that Rwanda and its leader, Paul Kagame, have contributed to the destabilization of, for instance, Congo.
And Central African Republic.
And it's still doing so.
And Burundi.
Of course. So then it begs the question as to what they are seeking to achieve. Is it to further entrench themselves in those countries for the purposes of advancing their own parochial interest, or they just want to send troops to protect the sanctity of the political dispensation in Central African Republic?
Well, Kwame, I think that there's no doubt that Paul Kagame is now sort of a key piece of the jigsaw puzzle in the Central African area, Eastern African area. Take note that Paul Kagame was a rebel leader who came in
after the death of Habyarimana.
Precisely, and protecting the interests of the Tutsis. The dynamics still remain. So that the other time I was watching on Pan-African TV, in Central African Republic or one of the surrounding countries, I think it's in Burundi. You see, Kagame is active in Burundi. Everybody knows this. He's active in Congo. He's active in Central African Republic because he pushed out the interim, you would probably know it.
Yeah.
In Tarumabunya, they have powerful jaw-breaking names.
Truth is, I think it was because most of the Hutus
Sure.
fled to the
neighboring countries. Precisely.
When Paul Kagame and his troops
Moved in.
and stabilized the region,
Sure,
right? And stabilized,
sure. Rwanda.
Of course, absolutely, because of the genocide and things like that.
Precisely.
So they felt that it was too close for comfort. So they need to find a way of ensuring that they protected their territory.
Sure. So he's seeking to create some kind of buffer.
Absolutely, and which is why he has strong relations with Museveni.
Sure, who is another sad dictator. Kwame, and I think I'll sum it up. What I'm saying here is that, you see, if Paul Kagame is compelled to be intervening in surrounding countries to protect his political dispensation, then Paul Kagame's political dispensation is not strong enough.
No, absolutely.
So I think that the African Union and well-meaning African leaders should probably seek to create a more conducive environment.
All right.
Kwame, just briefly, if I may just land by saying, yes, in conclusion, I just want to, congratulate His Excellency President Vladimir Putin for the actions he is beginning to take in Africa. We would want to encourage Russia and President Putin to continue to participate in Africa across the board, economically, militarily, and otherwise. I believe that Russia is a force for good. I believe that we need at least a bipolar world order, and Russia offers the strength and the economic and scientific know-how to counterpoise that of the Western hegemony. We want Russia to be participating in Africa, and I would like to, with your permission, use this opportunity to invite President Vladimir Putin to visit Ghana. President Putin, we love you. We want you to visit Ghana. Kindly visit Ghana and continue to participate in Ghana's economy, especially
Ghana to come and do it.
To bring investments in the area of science and technology. Russia is a major scientific nation. They go to space. America is slightly afraid of Russia. They can check America. You understand? Russia is a good country. We should do things with them.
All right, thank you. 0260846539 is the WhatsApp number. Please share with us what your thoughts are. I think that Soprano has dispassionately dealt with this Rwandan issue. Of course, he brought in some other dimensions, which I believe it's very incidental to the conversation. Let me now bring in Gabriela Tete. Gabi, let's hear from you. Well, by the way, today is Sana Nombo's birthday. So Sana, the host of Alaji and Alaji, Sakura Man, the Lord is my Baba. Today is your birthday. Happy birthday to you, Sana Nombo. I trust you're doing very well. Have a blast. We love you. Please.
First of all, let me say a good morning to our viewers. A good morning and happy birthday to Sana Dombo. I was with him over the weekend on Alaji and Alaji. Great host. Very nice guy, very intelligent guy, and very humble. I didn't know he liked rap music. Yesterday I saw his status and he was quoting what's the name of that black rapper with the theater two dreadlocks?
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne. He was quoting Lil Wayne.
Unfortunately, me, I don't.
But you're a rapper.
I'm not a rapper.
disappointed rapper.
No.
I want to say a good morning to the people of Owusu Senya West and to all Ghanaians who are watching us. Owusu in our cousin constituency, sister constituency, Owusu Senya East. Kwame, this is a very interesting story.
Yeah.
When I first read it, I was questioning why Rwanda already has peacekeepers in Central African Republic and will not just apply to the UN and rather increase the number of troops there as part of the UN mission, but will rather go for a bilateral arrangement with the Central African Republic to rather protect the UN peacekeepers. That's a very interesting arrangement. Only a military general will understand that kind of arrangement. But there's understandable because he's trying to protect the government of the Central African Republic from militants who, according to the story, are marching onto the capital city to disrupt the upcoming elections. What can I say? It's intriguing. I'm not very much into military maneuverings and these kind of things, and I'm also not that excited about Russia and inviting foreign countries to come into Africa to do all kinds of stuff either. But I'm very much interested in having African leaders who project strength and support towards other African leaders, and not rather harbor militants and disruptive forces, as is known in our part of the world. I mean, political instability, Africa and political instability, Africa and wars, Africa and famine are synonymous when you read foreign media articles. So to have an African leader who is supporting another African country to keep the peace in that country and in that region, I think that it's...
Does it not come to you as a surprise?
I'm not surprised
when they have their own internal issues. Maybe it's politically motivated.
Sometimes when the leader takes those decisions, it's actually to protect their own sovereign state. Because if there's any disruptions in Central African Republic, I haven't checked the map to see whether they share a boundary. But if there's any spillover from that country and people are migrating outwards, they usually tend to look at which countries are doing well within the sub-region, and that is where they go and seek protection. If you remember when the civil war in Yemen started, the citizens of Yemen were not going to the Arab countries. They were migrating into Europe in the thousands, because everybody saw it as an opportunity that this is where they'll take advantage of whatever is going on in their country to seek greener pastures in Europe. And under the circumstances, the European Union and the European countries will have no option than to open their borders to them. You remember Yugoslavia refused to allow them to settle. They had to migrate upwards. They got into Hungary. Hungary kept them at the train station, refused to allow them to settle. They had put them in trains and kept pushing them until they go to Germany. And Germany, Belgium, and I think France were the countries that took most of these people in. So sometimes you, as a leader within a sub-region, you have to take hard decisions that may not appear that they are in the interest of your own sovereignty, but when you look at the long-term effect of some of these decisions, the bottom line is to protect their own social services from being intruded, want a better word, and their countries being intruded by immigrants seeking protection or as refugees. But the maneuvers is what I find interesting, and I think that it's only a general who can conceive this kind of idea, right, that although you have peacekeepers in the region, you still want to have another bilateral arrangement to protect the government, irrespective of whatever arrangements comes with the UN. But then again also, you remember during the Rwandan genocide, Rwanda was colonized by the Belgians. And at the time when they were having the Hutsi-Tutsi conflict, they kept calling for the UN to bring peacekeeping forces to come and save the situation. The Belgians came, and it took a while. It took like 30 days later for the UN peacekeepers to also reach Rwanda. And that's what made Kagame a hero in his native country. So I think probably from the experiences of dealing with the bureaucracy of a UN system, they still wanted something that was straightforward, right, and that they can easily operate to, a mechanism they could easily operate to, and not go through the bureaucracy of a UN system.
Right. Thank you. Saka.
Yeah,
yes, my boss.
Oh. Good morning to
Good morning.
My fellow panelists and to you. And good morning to His Excellency the President and the President-elect. Then the Vice President and the Vice President-elect.
Saka, he's asking if they are watching us. Tell him.
Yeah, they are watching us.
They are
watching us. Oh yeah, they are watching us.
You don't know who's watching you.
They are watching us.
Flagstaff House every morning.
Yeah, but now the Flagstaff House is watching. Yeah.
When did he come?
Oh, you let me talk.
Oh, I'm asking you a question.
I don't know when he came.
All he knows is that he's back. Gabi.
From what I hear, the advert was recorded.
Okay, whether it was recorded or not, Saka says he's back.
So
Saka.
after having greeted His Excellency and the Vice, let me launch straight onto the topic. And the topic is where is it? Kwame, can you read it again? Rwanda deploys protection forces in Central African Republic. Yeah, I mean we like what Gabriela said. It looks strange because we all know that Central African Republic is going through crisis. They are about to have their general elections 27th of this month. That is Sunday.
Absolutely.
And they have barred their leader, their former president, Francois Bozizi, from contesting. And we all know, I mean, who he was. He was their president until 2013 when he was actually ousted. And then since then, he's been going through some sanctions. And according to the UN,
it's also causing confusion.
Yeah, he's causing confusion. He's involved in extrajudicial killings. He has maimed people. He has caused a whole lot. So he's going through international courts and sanctions and all that. So based on that, the Central African Republic court actually pronounced that he is barred from contesting this coming Sunday's election. And through to Africa leaders, he said no. I mean, he has been shortchanged and all that. So troops, Christian Balaka something troops, have been backing him, and all manner of agitations, demonstrations, mayhem is being meted out to the people of the Central African Republic. So the UN troops are there, led by the Rwandan troops, and then Russia. If you look at the whole thing, I mean, Russia has over 750 troops already there. But according to them, I mean, their troops are being overpowered and being attacked every now and then, and therefore they needed reinforcement. They needed to have a stabilization force, so to speak, so that they can then protect the 750 troops of the Rwandans. And that the troops that are now being deployed are not going to be part of the battle. They are just going to force defense. I mean, protect the troops that are already been there. But I don't know how that will be. And if the troops are being attacked.
And to ensure that the elections are free and fair.
Yes.
The political interest, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to draw attention to. That, it's about political interest.
Yeah. You see, if the troops are being attacked, do you think that they will also fight? So I mean, I don't get it. I mean, the arrangement looks some way, but as it is, for me, I think that it's just another deployment to the Central African Republic to ensure that their whims or whatever the plans that they have is achieved. And this is also being backed by Russian troops. I mean, also we all know the connection Central African Republic and the US have with Russia. I mean, it's a long-standing one. And for me, I think that what we should be praying is that the election should be free and fair. But as it is now, they are already crying foul. They are saying that their leader that they all aspire to become president once again is being barred from the election. But I think that sometimes some of these opposition people should sometimes reason well. I mean, you cannot be going through international sanctions. You cannot be going through court proceedings because of genocide and other extrajudicial activities. And then you continue to, and this thing happened you remember this thing, it happened in Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta. You remember, I mean, he was being prosecuted by the International Court of Justice, and he won the elections.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you cannot prosecute a certain president in that manner. Even the people who have to agitate and all that. So for me, I mean, there was a sense in ensuring that Francois Bozizi does not contest the election. But going forward, I think that whoever that represents his political party should be given the fair opportunity to also, a contest. And if it's a popular will of the people that their party should win the election, why not? But for me, I think that they have the right, especially when it's backed by the UN, because the UN troops that are there, and then the Rwandan troops that are there are under the auspices of the UN. And therefore, if you are deploying more troops to go and protect them, and it's sanctioned by the UN, I don't think that there's any problem with that.
Right. Saka, thank you very, very much. Because of time, because of time.
I just wanted to, suggest strongly, Saka, I know you meet the president quite often. We think Ghanaian troops should be there. Because the Ghanaian peacekeeping forces are legendary and amongst the best in the world. So and we should be in the fight because we are the Black Star of Africa. We have a responsibility to do things in that way.
Do you know why he's saying that? Because in '94, when the genocide started, I think it was, even the UN had moved their troops out. It was only the Ghana military that was there to ensure that calm was restored. So we are respected, across the world because of
what numbers?
Oh, I think we do have the numbers.
When it comes
Instead of deploying them to some constituencies, I think we should deploy them.
I agree with you, Kwame.
When it comes to numbers, the country that can easily do some of these things is Nigeria.
No, but it's not also about the numbers. It's about expertise. I mean, Nigeria had the numbers, but it was Ghanaian troops who were able to salvage the situation in Rwanda. You get
well, I don't know the complexity then. Yeah. But I know that if the Ghanaian troops were in the command, definitely they will be the last to leave.
No, that's what the point. But the UN themselves left. They went there on account of UN peacekeeping. Yes. Correct? But when it intensified, they left. And it was only the Ghanaian troops that were.
Well, I don't know.
So that is why every time I'm not sure. If you've always been listening to ABU, every time he says that, Charlie, as for the Ghanaian military guys, they are legendary, world class. So
we know that. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that every
you should get involved in everything.
But we have bona fides there.
Whether we have interest or not, we should just send troops. You can only do that when you have the numbers to spare. That's what
I don't think numbers should be the yardstick.
Or it should be.
I think the standing of Ghana. And Kwame, I was just saying though.
I don't think that it should be based on diplomacy.
Sure. And I was saying Captain Kojo Sikata.
Even the AU is there to mobilize it. Absolutely. If Ghana doesn't have the numbers, you can still find other countries to support.
Captain Kojo Sikata made his name from such a deployment in Congo under the auspices of the CPP government. You understand? So when Ghanaians, our military, they go out like that, they shine and they bring glory to Mother Ghana.
When we went to Liberia,
I don't think that we shine.
Who said?
When we went to Liberia,
it was a very difficult situation. Liberia was a very difficult situation.
That led to the death of the president.
But the point is, you will not. We
were all commanding the troops.
No, but the point is, you will not be 100% in all of the deployments. Yeah. But largely, if you look at our success stories, I think that is better than most of the other.
I agree with you.
So let's come back home. I think that there's one story that we appear to be glossing over. So I have decided to add that story to this, and I'm sure you guys will be interested in it as well. You remember the Akpafu Lolobi people petitioned the Electoral Commission? Yeah, in the Guans. Petitioned the EC on the exclusion of on the exclusion from Hohoi election. They petitioned the Electoral Commission. I'm sure we'll be interested to have that. Correct? Okay. Yeah. Sure. So I've added it to the topics. Right.
So can I just start with that?
Yeah, so let's start with that. And Saka, respectfully, let me start with you on that. Do you think it's justified? Sorry, let me start with that. If you don't have a background, let me start with Saka. Saka, I mean, the people obviously are not happy. They are not happy because there was an earlier letter, or if you will, that was issued by the EC stating why they were going to be excluded from the parliamentary polls and that they could vote in the presidential, but they couldn't vote in the parliamentary. Now, people are saying that they actually vote in Hohoi, and it's because the EC wanted to deliberately make the MPP candidate there win the elections, which is why they were excluded from voting in Hohoi. Because if they were allowed to vote in Hohoi, there is no way Peter Mewu would have won that Hohoi seat. And that they are saying that if that hasn't happened, and the EC promised that they were going to create a new constituency sort of, for them to be able to also have a representation in parliament. justified, possible, baseless, needless? What would be your take on this issue?
Well, I mean, they have a right to be agitated, especially as they do not have franchise when it comes to the parliamentary. Indeed, they voted in the presidential. But we all know the reason. The Electoral Commission on the 6th of December actually came out to explain the reasons why they will not be partaking in the parliamentary elections. Mm-hmm. The reason being that, I mean, they just created the Guan district. Mm-hmm. And after creating a district, you need to create a constituency. And there's an ally. There's a constitutional, a CI, constitutional instrument in parliament in order to create the constituency for them. And you all know, I mean, the processes that the constitutional instrument normally pass through. It has to be 21 sitting day, mm-hmm. you know, for it to mature as a CI. In this particular case, it could not mature, and therefore they are unable to get the district, the constituency, as it were. Mm-hmm. So one would have said, I mean, that the Electoral Commission should have speed up the creation. Mm-hmm. But as it were, I mean, the time that that the creation of the district happened and the creation of the constituency, mm-hmm. it made it impossible for them to have a constituency. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think that it's a genuine exclusion. It's not as if somebody, you know, thought about it and decided to disenfranchise them. It's because of the delay in the creation of the constituency.
But why would that happen? Because originally they used to vote in Hohoi. If you have found the need to exclude them from voting in Hohoi, then you should have also expedited the process in ensuring that they were able to vote in their own constituency. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. So that you're saying that in disallowing you to exercise your franchise in Hohoi, I'm expediting the process. But in allowing you to vote in your own constituency to elect your own parliamentary representation, that one we have to go through the process and it takes time.
No, but you see, they had created the district already.
Yes, sir.
And then I think that there's some rule that says that you cannot belong to two districts at the same time. Mm-hmm. Once the district has been created, mm-hmm. You can have one constituency, one district that belongs to two constituencies. And therefore, that district has to have its own constituency. It cannot belong to a new constituency that is about to be created, and at the same time, that of Hohoi. So it would have been, you know, unconstitutional for them to have voted in Hohoi. But for the presidential, it was just an arrangement. They could have voted anywhere. They could have come to Owusu where we're going to vote. So why? Because the presidential is one constituency. You understand? But the parliamentary, because they themselves are being carved away, and they are to have their parliament constituency. The constituency, I'm sure, within the next few days, the bill would have matured, and therefore they will have their. So how would it look like? Okay, we voted for this. We voted in this constituency, but the next week or the next 2 weeks, we have another constituency that we are going to do another elections or something. I mean, I don't get it. For me, I believe that the Electoral Commission did the right thing, even though the people might not be happy about it. And for you to jump to conclusion that if they had been part of the election, Amewu would not have won, I beg to differ. Because I'm sure that the same thing, the formula that Amewu used in winning the people of Hohoi, he would have used the same to actually bring them to his side. So, I mean, it's neither here nor there for anybody to conjecture that if they had been part of the Hohoi constituency, Amewu would have lost. I don't think so. I mean, it is just one of those NDC arguments that do not make a lot of sense. Because if Amewu could convince the whole of Hohoi, as big as Hohoi is, to vote massively for him.
MPP has never won in Hohoi before.
Yes. MPP have never won in Hohoi.
It stands to reason.
So
but
the same formula. Hold on. All the same formula could have been used.
Hold on. All the time that
to win over the people of Guans.
All the time that NDC won in Hohoi, you had the Akpalu people, Akpafu and the Lobi people voting in Hohoi, correct? Correct.
No, I mean you are saying.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. All the time that NDC won in that Hohoi constituency, you had the Akpafu and the Lobi people vote in that particular constituency.
Until still change.
Absolutely. So for the first time that MPP won is when, well, I don't know whether it's, I don't want to describe it as deliberate. When the so for some strange reasons we are saying that we've created a district, so we are carving you out. Therefore, you're not going to vote in Hohoi. And on the basis of that, what's his name? Amewu won. So will one be far from correct to say that it was a deliberate attempt just for the MPP to win that?
Yeah, you'll be far from correct. The reason being that, first of all, you have to look at the voting pattern of the people of the Guans. And as we are sitting, I don't think you and I know the voting pattern.
I'm from Guan too.
So I don't know. I don't know the relationship that they have with Amewu. Sometimes you could be voting for a particular political party, but when it comes to parliamentary, sometimes you eschew partisanship and look for somebody that can best represent you. And to that effect, I don't think that it's a straitjacketing to say that, oh, if they were part of Hohoi, they would have voted for Amewu.
No, but we are dealing with numbers.
They would have voted against.
We are dealing with numbers. With the greatest respect to Saka, we are dealing with numbers. We are dealing with trajectory. We're dealing with history.
But if we're dealing with history,
for instance,
then Hohoi would have voted for a candidate.
That's the point I'm making. I'm saying that Hohoi didn't vote for the candidate of choice because
candidate of what choice?
Of choice. Because
so-called choice.
Because, well, that's why I put it in quotes. Because for some strange reason, now Akpafu people and Lolobi people are not allowed to vote in Hohoi.
So are you saying that Akpafu and Lolobi people they had always been the determining factor in the elections of the NDC parliamentary candidates there?
What did your member of parliament say about Kumasi? Hasn't Kumasi always been the decider for what's it called, for the MPP? So in the event that there's a deliberate creation such that people in Bantama, for instance, are not able to vote for the MPP, what happens?
No, but this is not the case.
But that's the point. No, we are making inferences. And I'm saying that if you check the history, Saka, let's be fair to the fact. If you check the history, every single time we've had elections in this country, the people of Lolobi and Akpafu have always voted in Hohoi. And every time they have voted in Hohoi, NDC has won that particular seat. But for the first time in the history of this nation, that these people were disallowed to vote in Hohoi, the MPP has won.
But
what are you telling me?
No, I don't want the way you are talking.
How am I talking?
You should be able to educate people on the reasons why they were unable to vote for at the parliamentary level.
Do you know the funny
but to say
the reasons could be deliberate.
No.
It could be deliberate.
Okay, I mean, if I'm looking at the choice of ways.
Yeah.
Could.
Yes.
But it is not deliberate.
But we and I don't know that.
No, it is not.
We don't know.
And
that.
I'm giving you the reasons.
What are the reasons?
I'm giving you the reason that because it has.
When was the district created?
No,
When was the district created?
I'm talking about the constituencies.
I get it. When was the district created?
I can't remember when the district was created. But I'm saying that in creating the constituency, the time for the maturity of the bill, was so short, and the bill could not mature at the time we were going to the pool. And for me, if Amewu could convince, let's even talk about the people having the right to choose their own, parliamentary candidate. They could not get the opportunity. That is what we should be talking. But we should forget about that. If they were there, Amewu could not have won. I mean, that one is subject to interpretation. I can also say that Amewu would have won even if they were there, because he would have treated them the way he treated the Hohoi people to vote for them. He would have convinced them and let them know that he was for their interests. And I'm sure that they would not have reasoned different from what the Hohoi people have reasoned.
Now let me read something out for the viewers, because I think that in our attempt to be very open about some of these things, we need to also know the derivatives from where we are deriving our conversation from. How did we get to the point where the people in Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe, right,
So the Guans.
The Guans,
Yeah.
my people.
Yes.
So let me just read a little bit of it. This
They
was
are all
in,
our people.
This was in August.
Yes.
And so how many months to an election? 4.
Yeah, or 5.
August, September, October, November, December. So 4. Right. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development said it is currently in talks with the chiefs and people of Central Kofi Akpafu, Lolobi, and Likpe on where to site their district capital following a directive by the President Akufo-Addo to create a new district for those areas. The 4 communities are currently a part of the Jasikan district, but following the creation of the Oti region, the President Akufo-Addo has said they deserve their own local government status, right?
Yeah.
These plans were contained in a letter written by the local government minister, Haji Alima, who lost to my friend Alhaji Baba in Nalegu Gambaga.
Oh,
To the
what you are
Oti-
saying is the
to
part
the
of
Oti
what-
region. No, she was trounced. In fact, she was not just trounced. She was beaten to pulp.
Annihilated.
Ostracized. Extinct. Confirming this development to blah blah blah, the Deputy Local Government Minister Obi Amwa said the ministry was currently the chiefs and people of those traditional areas are in discussion to find consensus. Okay, I just wanted to find out when the
But you made-
when
you
the
said
process
August.
actually started. No,
You say, okay, but
this was when the talks were had.
yes.
But I'm just
So
actually
you
looking at
mean that
when
the creation
when the
happened,
bill was sent to
the
Parliament,
creation happened around maybe October, November.
close to an election.
Yeah, very close to an
That's
election.
dangerous.
Yeah, but even the creation of the region is
Because the reason why I'm saying this is Saka, with the greatest of respect to you, sir. The reason why I'm saying it is dangerous is because if, assuming that the talks began in August, the bill was sent to Parliament September, October, November, election in December. So how else did you expect?
so that
this
is
to-
even district, the creation of the district.
absolutely.
And after the creation of the district, then you now create constituency.
But that's why I'm saying that.
So you can see that, I mean,
don't you think that they were
for
this,
the-
don't you think that this whole
no,
thing
you
was,
see,
was
for
deliberate?
the EC, you cannot blame the EC. Because the EC is not the body that created the district.
But the point is that any act which act contravenes the constitution must not be allowed.
They never contravened the
Yeah, because the constitution clearly states that everybody must have the right to exercise their franchise
And
to choose a representation.
Yeah, but don't say everybody.
Eh?
Don't say everybody.
No, everybody in terms of age, in terms of
No.
sanity, in terms of all
Yes.
of that, being a Ghanaian registered voter. So
Yeah, I mean-
so every registered voter
Listen.
who is
You see,
who is 80 years and above. No, the point is
you see, Kwame, you see, sometimes you see when we read the law and make it look
Saka,
like,
you know me, I don't read
no,
the
no,
law.
no, but I'm not. I'm
I am saying
I'm not
that-
talking- oh, you listen. It is not everybody. For instance, we have the Representation of the People Amendment Act, and that act allows every Ghanaian everywhere to exercise his franchise. Am I lying?
Right.
But because of operational difficulties, sometimes the law is there, but the operation of the act becomes a difficulty. So today, are you saying that if Ghanaian in Togo says that, okay, they have not brought the ballot to Togo for me to vote, because of that they have disenfranchised me, he go to court, the Electoral Commission will go and say that, I mean, we have operational difficulties to do it.
So they have
And in this-
operational difficulties for the people in the lobby.
No, but
When they go to my
no,
people in the
listen.
No,
I'm-
for
I'm telling you,
international,
I mean, this is a different. This is a different.
For Ropal,
No.
For Ropal, we can let it slide.
No, this is a different thing altogether.
Yes.
And this one, they gave the reason. The operational difficulty emanating from the fact that the bill could not mature from Parliament at the time that we went to the poll. So how would anybody blame the
You
Electoral
see,
Commission?
You are creating a district. 2 months to an election.
So the Electoral Commission didn't,
2 months to an election.
didn't create the district.
So you didn't foresee. But who sent the bill to Parliament? Who sent the bill
no,
to
I'm
Parliament?
saying that Electoral Commission does not create district.
Who sent
The
the
Electoral
bill to
Commission
Parliament?
creates constituencies.
Who sent the bill to Parliament?
So the district will have to be created before the constituencies are created.
I said, who sent the bill to Parliament?
The local government ministry.
Absolutely. And I'm saying that the local government, in cahoot with the Electoral Commission, ensured that my people were disenfranchised.
No, the local government also would not have known that in creating this region. I mean, it was for good reason that they were creating the district. They would not have known that time would have elapsed.
2 months to an election.
They would not have known. They were even speeding it up so that they could catch up with the time.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, this happened. So sometimes let's not bring things out of our mind and let it look like somebody deliberately disenfranchised a whole group of people. That is not the case. Kwame, I'm done.
Right, you are done. You are done. Gabriela, let me come to you. I'm trying to let Saka see the light, but Saka has decided not to see the light.
Kwame,
And it's understandable.
Saka cannot see the light because he's a partaker of this gross injustice meted out to the Guans in SAL. You see, from the very onset, when they did the regional demarcations, they were very much aware that in the creation of the new district, this particular group of people were torn in the middle. We've had ample time, well over a year, to determine the fate of the people of SAL. They sat down, as usual, typical of the NPP. When they realized that something is going to go in their favor, then they intentionally drag their feet or pretend like they are not even aware that the problem exists. When this district was created,
Yeah.
ordinarily, these people apparently had been complaining that they've been voting in Hohoi,
Yep.
and they still have their traditional and cultural links to Hohoi.
Yep.
So in the demarcations of the district, they should recognize that and have them connected back to Hohoi. You had a commissioner, what's a commissioner of inquiry, some inquiry, one of these justices, to look at the issues that had come up during the redemarcation processes and settle all these issues. So it was already known prior to the election. Heading into this election, Honorable Amewu, knowing very well that the stage has been set up for him, for the first time in the history of this Fourth Republic, for the NPP to have access to a seat in an NDC stronghold, did all kinds of maneuverings and machinations, even to the extent of busing people. You saw the video of the 50 STC fleet of buses. You think that they were opening a new station they were revamping their old station in Hohoi. 50 buses loaded with people to go and vote for Honorable Amewu. The NDC candidate who was contesting Mr. Peter Amewu in that very constituency hails from the Guan part. She couldn't even vote. A person contesting for election. The person contesting. The person. What was she not qualified? She registered to vote. She registered to vote. No. It is
qualified because
she
look,
was registered
if you cannot
to
vote in your constituency, you have no right to stand there to be voted for.
She registered to vote.
So listen to her point.
No, I mean her point has
her point has not been made.
She's from the Guan side.
And you said she didn't vote.
Her people didn't vote.
But she voted.
Her people didn't vote.
Can you allow her make a point, and then it's not.
He wants to distract me because he knows that.
No, go ahead.
No, but the listeners listen to you.
Go ahead.
Don't worry. Right now, it's just the four of us who are here. When you see, he made me lose my train of thought.
Yeah. You said her people didn't vote.
Her people didn't vote. Peter Amewu asked all these people to come and beef up his support base. If you look at what is Volta region now has become OT and Volta. That is an NDC stronghold from the very north of the region to the south of the region. So when you make the argument about how the people vote, they vote one way. They vote NDC way. OT region, NDC took all the seats in OT region.
Just like they are
NDC
Why the Hohoi people didn't vote? Why didn't the Hohoi people?
Please, I didn't
They were also voting for the.
Can you allow? You were talking.
Okay.
NDC swept all the seats in Volta except the very seat that we are discussing now. The one with all the manipulations and machinations to aid Peter Amewu and the NPP grab a seat in Volta region. It was a deliberate, calculated attempt for the NPP to impose a candidate on the people of Volta in Hohoi. You orchestrated to get NDC supporters out of the system. You went and imported people to come and register and vote to beef up the numbers of your candidates so that you can, for political expediency, stand and say, oh, for once, NDC has a seat, NPP has a seat in Volta. It was deliberate. The people of South, from the beginning of the Fourth Republic, have been voting in Hohoi. Why did you not allow them to vote on December 7th in Hohoi? If it was about the creation of new constituencies and the EC has not been able to do that prior to the election, the law also says that you have no right to disenfranchise anybody. Everybody who has registered, unless they choose not to vote, is mandated to vote.
No, but they voted for the president.
They voted for president, but not.
Which constituency did they vote for?
So right now, who should go represent them in parliament?
No, I'm for the constituency. Constituency, but it was not Hohoi.
So where did they vote for the president?
No, I'm for the president. I told you that.
I said where?
Listen.
They said
the
presidency.
The presidency is one constituency.
Where did they
could have brought, like I was saying, they could have brought them to.
Where did they vote?
Oh, I forgot of the constituency name, but they voted in a different.
Let me proceed.
But even if they voted for presidential, they also have a right to choose a representative to represent them in the next parliament,
they will still get,
which you have denied them. No, from what I gather, they will not get, because any arrangement that comes up from henceforth will take effect in the next election.
Absolutely.
So this means that from 2021 to 2024,
no development will be
they have no representative.
No representative.
And no development coming their way. It was deliberate, calculated part on behalf of the NPP.
An MP,
just admit it. Either you send them, you go and set up a election system for them to go and vote and add the vote to Hohoi constituency, or we have a rerun of the Hohoi constituency. In fact, bottom line, there should be a rerun of the Hohoi constituency, taking into account these people who are disenfranchised. It's a very simple matter. And if they have a rerun, Amewu will lose the seat. That is the reason why people are afraid to have a rerun of that election.
All right. Soprano.
Well, Kwame, I'll start off with the talk of rerun, because I'm also inclined to, suggest that I'll even call on the government or the EC to do a rerun. I just want to call on Honorable Peter Amewu to do the right thing and simply renounce this suspicious victory that occurred for him in Hohoi. You understand? No, honestly, he should just renounce it and do the right thing.
Like last week, you enjoyed it.
You know.
So today, enjoy him.
Honestly, I don't know why Honorable Peter Amewu, he's such an honorable man. I've admired him so much. His performance at Lands and Natural Resources, I think he did a great job, which compelled the president to consider him seriously for Minister of Energy. Which is one of the
can I be fair?
But of course.
Can I be fair?
Sure.
Let me be fair to Amewu. The last time I used Hohoi, I enjoyed it.
Sure.
The roads are beautiful.
Because of Amewu?
Yes.
Oh,
street
I
lights.
See. Oh, street lights because of Amewu?
Yes.
Nice.
Is very clean.
Because of Amewu?
That one, I will give it to him.
So in that case,
when I'm going to my village, when I'm going to a cowboy, I use Hohoi.
Okay. Because it's benefiting you, that's why you're against the Guan people right now.
I'm saying, but why?
No, I'm not. I know, but now all of a sudden, because of the nice road in Hohoi.
No. I'm saying because I can appreciate why the people in Hohoi decided to vote the way they did.
Okay.
I can appreciate why.
Okay.
But that also does not preclude me from criticizing the Electoral Commission and government for deliberately failing to allow my people to vote.
To exercise their franchise.
That's
you see,
one.
Kwame, and what you just said is another thing that is bothering lots of Ghanaians. For instance, I live in the Dome Kwabinya constituency in North Legon. And we in North Legon, we don't know if we have done something against Mrs. Adjoa Safwa.
Oh, you mean our road?
Oh,
it's terrible.
So when he talk, you see, if only she was, you see, we don't have important people in the MPP government living in our area. You see, when I went further,
but isn't the speaker Resident in your
No,
area.
No,
if the speaker was there, all the roads would be nice. Like Adwas Afoe's neighborhood.
Or her face.
Her face.
The only place they have better roads is from the roundabout to her father's house.
Yes.
They have street lights and the roads
It's lovely.
Beautiful, very lovely.
So Kwame, on the point here, you see, Kwame, seriously, if you want to use this opportunity, Kwame, I think we should use this opportunity to invite some MPP people to come and live in our area so that they will bring development. You know, I went further into Ashoman, the Ashoman area.
Oh, why are you been going there? It's terrible.
When you, by the way, when you are going to Pantine, so I was trying to avoid some traffic and I passed through that area, Kwame. Then I entered an enclave. Kwame, for a minute I thought I was not in Ghana. All the roads, first class, beautiful area. I was surprised and I asked somebody, they call the area Nyahuta Maklo. That's the general. And I asked somebody, what is happening here that it's like an oasis in the midst of a desert? That this place is so lovely. And they said, oh, the majority leader lives here. And I was like, Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu. He lives in the area. So all the streets, top notch. But you see, I also have friends living in Swami Magazine, where Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu is MP. Kwame, if you go to that place, you cry. It is like as if the area, that Swami Magazine has been aerially bombarded by American aircraft.
Hiroshima.
Sort of. It is terrible. It is filthy. The roads are terrible. There's nothing happening in Swami. I don't know how come Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu can continue to live in that very expensive, beautiful neighborhood and then represent people from Swami in Kumasi, which is one of the filthiest places in Ghana. So that's why I'm saying that maybe if we got some important MPP, Masaka, please come and live in our area, okay? So that they come and fix the roads for us. But are you
talking about the transition road to the Boshe?
Transition road
to Boshe, where Kenofurata's thing is, the funeral home.
It's for Honorable Ken.
Funeral home.
The funeral home is for transitions. Is for
transition.
Honorable. It belongs to the Honorable Minister of Finance.
You know transitions.
I know transitions. Very bourgeoisie.
Very bourgeoisie. Yeah.
Yes.
Every weekend now there's huge traffic there because of that transition. But that road.
Honorable Ken.
The Canada.
That
road. Saka is for Ken, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You take the funeral insurance and then when you're dead, then they bury you.
But that road, business model. Yeah.
That road.
Yes, sir.
Through to Boshe. Have you used that road?
I've used it. I used it a couple of days ago.
I don't know why the people in Domeka, I don't know why. When you say, they say, oh, MPs don't bring development. But what do they promise? What do they promise?
You see, but Kwame, the point here I'm saying is that that Gabriela ended on the fact that Honorable Amewu should, there should be a rerun of the
Saka disagrees with that.
I think that I'll put my stock on Honorable Amewu. He's an honorable man, and I think he'll do the right thing. Step aside so that there can be a rerun, unless he's afraid. But then also, Kwame, it is only fair that it is only fair that Honorable Amewu should, because you see, the government of Ghana under President Akufo-Addo should be seen to be doing the right thing. Saka, they should be seen to be doing the right thing, not the convenient thing. You understand? We have a lot of faith, in President Akufo-Addo to do the right thing. You understand? By the way, Kwame, you talked about your pleasure, upon driving on the roads in Hohoi, thanks to Honorable Amewu.
No, it's beautiful.
You are not the only one saying that. I have friends who are important opinion leaders in Hohoi, and they are staunch NDC members. One of them, his name is, I don't want to mention his name.
Don't.
You know what he told me? He was like, Sly, I voted for Honorable Amewu. Me and my friends and my family, we are all strong NDC, but I went there and I mobilized about 150 people within my extended family to vote for Honorable Amewu. And I said, why would you do such a thing? I mean, if nothing at all, you could have given all those votes to the glorious CPP. Why did you give it to? Excuse me. Let me finish my talk. You see, you have given it to the glorious CPP. Why did you give it to Honorable Amewu, who has already got everything? And then he said that, Aziwofia Oye. The man or catch him, Aziwofia Oye, that Honorable Amewu is also from Hohoi. He's also a son of Hohoi, and he's also bringing goodies into Hohoi. So why would they want to change a winning team in that regard? So I can understand if the object of voting for parliamentary representation is so that we would get certain developmental projects in one's area, then I think Honorable Amewu, he used all his ministerial powers, energetically speaking, to do all kinds of fantastic things in Hohoi, making Hohoi a beautiful city.
It is.
You see, and Hohoi, incidentally, we must point out, it's a historic town. You understand? They have deep history, and they deserve the beauty that Amewu is bringing to them. You understand?
I think if only other constituencies will emulate the same, that people who perform must be given the opportunity. It doesn't matter whether the person is the party that, the person represents the party that you would vote for in terms of presidential. If the person is a parliamentary candidate and you know that this guy will not come and do anything for you, why don't you, like Adjasaf? I don't know why they voted for Adjasaf.
It's a face.
No, I'm serious. I'm not joking. When you say, they say, oh, but MPs don't bring development. But some MPs have been able to bring development. What makes your situation different? How come that you were able to bring street lights from Atomic Runabout to your father's house? But you have not been able to put the same street light from the transition to Bosche, where it is even very dangerous to drive at night.
It's seriously
very dangerous to drive at night.
You know,
you don't have street lights there.
She doesn't care about that. She doesn't care.
The runabout to your father's house.
She doesn't care. God bless.
I don't know why people vote for her.
Kwame, in conclusion,
I'm going to campaign against her in the next election.
I think maybe I'll run against her if you campaign for me.
It will be difficult.
Let me tell you something. There's
After,
something that you must
all
know.
the importation from the Christians for 10 members.
No, listen, there's something that you must know. You cannot continue to fool the people all the time.
Yeah.
One day.
Why?
Why?
Then
not fooling us. You know what I mean?
Should also go
No, wait. Hasn't everybody won the Hohoi seat?
It was
who would have thought?
It was
28
maneuvering.
years.
It was maneuvering.
Maneuvering.
It was maneuvering.
Why? If you had won convincingly, for instance, in Nalerigu Gambaga, where we beat Adia Halima convincingly over 5,000 votes margin, you think that if your NDC parliamentary candidate had won that seat with over 5,000 votes margin, they would have been able to do anything about it?
But my NDC candidate won that seat with the over 5,000 margin.
Is
that not the gentleman you went to help? Was not an NDC candidate.
That's the point I'm making.
That's the point. Listen, you're not telling me. You're not referencing him as an NDC candidate.
Oh no, I'm talking about the NDC candidate in Nalerigu Gambaga. He won convincingly. Do you know the arsenals they sent to Nalerigu Gambaga? All the big guys went there, but she still lost. I'm saying that we should get to a point where it's irrespective of your standing in the political party. If you're not bringing development to the constituency, then people must boot you out. And Adjasaf should be sacked.
But Kwame, you see, one other aspect of this whole point is Adjasaf, talking about bringing
Safo,
Mrs. Adjasaf. Okay. So Mrs. Adjasaf.
Not Mrs. Miss.
Miss Adjasaf.
No, she's Mrs.
But you have to add her.
What is the name of my MP, please?
Adjasaf.
Okay.
Lawyer Adjasaf.
Yeah, when I say Mrs. Adjasaf, they say no. Madam Adjasaf, they say no.
Lawyer Adjasaf.
Okay, Lawyer Adjasaf.
But she's a fantastic individual.
We understand she's expecting, so we're looking forward to the outdoor. But Kwame, please, what I'm saying here is that reading the story, it is clear that the people of Lolobi and Akpafu have been deprived of a certain rare, constitutional gift, so to speak, a certain rare constitutional right, I should say, because they've not been allowed to choose their representative. We've dissected this matter, in and out. You've tried to justify why your party engineered this anomaly, this, travesty against the people of Lolobi. But I'm sure the people of Lolobi will forgive you. However, it is only reasonable that the people need to be compensated after having been deprived of such, valuable dispensation. And I would like to use the opportunity to call on the president to give all the voters in Lolobi and Akpafu 20,000 Ghana each by way of compensation, because they can never ever get the opportunity to get a representative in the 2020 parliament because of the government's, fumbling and tumbling. You see, so I think they should be compensated. 20,000 Ghana each to the people of Lolobi and Akpafu is nothing to be.
So this is why you say you are one of them.
I'm not from
So he will go and enjoy it.
At least I'm from Lulubi. I'm more a Yendi person. You see, but the point is that I think the people of Lulubi need to be compensated for this travesty. It is very, very painful. You understand? Because in the excuse me, let me make this point. Please. You see, because in the letter by the joint by the general secretary of the Joint Steering Committee, one CK Owusu, he talks about the fact that they have the Supreme Court reference number 160120 in the case between Valentine Edem Jache and versus Henry Ametefe and 5 others, dated 24th June. You understand? They've not been given the reliefs that are theirs. You understand? And the Supreme Court anticipated all of this. The government simply went ahead and did what it wanted to do because it appears the government had a special interest. You understand? We understand that Honorable Amewu wants to go to Parliament. That's fine. But the people of Lulubi and Akpafu, they deserve some kind of compensation.
Kwame.
They deserve some kind of compensation.
When is that?
Because they've been compensation. At least compensation representation.
Kwame, like I was telling you,
Yeah.
if such a bizarre suggestion would have
Which suggestion is bizarre?
what you just suggested, you see, would have its way. It will open
The floodgate.
the floodgate for people who...
No.
Wait. Can you let me go?
If they pay, no, it's my turn. If they pay them, then the government in future will look sharp. If you say that other people will come around and collect,
I'm surprised you're saying that because you told me you had ended.
but the government should maybe pay.
No problem.
Okay,
sure.
I am saying that if such a bizarre suggestion should be accepted, it will open the floodgate for, like I told you, the Representation of the People Amendment Act. Because the Act says that every Ghanaian living everywhere should be able to vote in a referenda general elections. They will also come and say that government should compensate them because even though there are operational... Oh, please.
What is happening?
No, we know, but you see... Listen.
I'm not shifting any goalposts.
I'm not shifting any goalposts.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
I'm not shifting any goalposts. See,
and lady.
So I think that we should just throw...
All right, thank you.
We should just
No, the conclusion is we should have a rerun. Bring the South people to vote in Hohoi and let there be a rerun of the Hohoi.
Thank you. That's a suggestion. That's subject to the EC's approval. So we'll see. But the EC said that they are going on recess. So I don't know whether or not that petition will even be addressed. Yeah, the chiefs wrote a petition to the EC to address their issues. That's what we're discussing.
but not today. They go to the EC.
But I'm saying that, yes, but that is... but if they are on recess, how would they be able to address your concerns?
No, but they before all you know, they have addressed it before going on the recess.
Are you serious?
Oh, yes.
So how come that we don't know?
But you can address the situation and then announce it later.
Anyway.
It on their social media page by now.
Let's move on. MPP fingers NDC over market fires. And MPP condemns burning of markets. Daybreak newspaper. Saka, why are you condemning... Why are you fingering the NDC over the market fires?
Yeah, Kwame, thank you very much.
Yes,
I think that these markets that we have, they are our mothers, our fathers, our brothers and sisters who operate in those markets. But I think that because the NDC said that because they are screaming blue medal, they said that okay, they will turn their attention to these markets.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
How did you?
Yeah, we have seen posts of people who are NDCs who said that they were going to attack Kantomanto the next day, and it happened. We've seen Otukono's driver, one Eric something, who engaged in such thing and was even arrested by the police. Currently, as we are speaking, he is in the hands of the BNI. We've seen even their general secretary, their chairman, the political party, the NDC chairman, says that they should create an atmosphere of insecurity. They should maim. They should do things that will bring this nation down or make this nation ungovernable. We've seen all that. We've seen their demonstrations that they do. We've seen them burning ties in Ashama, in Kumasi, in Tamale. We've seen the incendiary statement that came from them, especially from their general secretary and their flag bearer. We've seen all the sordid things that they have done in the name of an election that they in their mind somebody cheated them. When you ask them how were you cheated, they are unable to tell you. Currently, as we are speaking, the NDC argument fall flats because they are unable to even explain themselves. They are unable to even give you figures. All the things that they said, that somebody said that we won Greater Accra, so we have won the general election. Somebody said almost bizarre. All the things that they say.
They are using the word
yes, because it fits in here. So I'm saying that it is not the MPP that is just fingering the NDC. They fingered themselves. I mean, they have said it time and again that this is what they want to embark on. When they were asked, anytime you ask the NDC to go to court, they say no, we won't go to court. And they fear court. I have always said that if you have taken your case to court in a manner that was once again bizarre, you fear court even when you have a case. We have seen in the past where the NDC have taken frivolous cases to court. The court decided to even fine them heavily. And now they are saying, because look, if you as a political party sign to a democracy, there are always laid down rules and regulations of democracy. The laid down rules and then the path to redress are so palpable. And one is court. And court is the only institution or entity that can overturn the election at this stage after the declaration by electoral commission. That is an independent body. Indeed, the NDC in 2004 actually took the electoral commission to court. That was a very civilized way to do things. In MPP in 2012, we took the electoral commission to court by the election petition 2013. Now you are screaming that somebody cheated you. And we said, okay, how were you cheated? He said, oh, I have reduced MPP strength from 169 to 138 or 37. And because of that, I deserve to be in the Flagstaff House. Is that the reason why anybody would and you see, and that is the reason why the NDC cannot go to court. Because look, the argument that you present on the street, you cannot take that argument to court. Because you cannot go to court with such bizarre arguments. I want to now use the word bizarre. You cannot go to court with such arguments as they have been saying. You see, the best platform to use the NDC argument is the street. Kwame, it is the street that those arguments can only be used. For instance, the NDC flag bearer tells us that, oh, I won't go to court, but I want an independent body to do auditing of the pin sheets. I mean, where have you heard this thing before? That independent body that can only be, it's because the electoral commission has declared the results. The only independent body that can do that must do so by a court declaration. It is a court that can bring that one. So if you say that I won't go to court, but I want what the court can do to be done by somebody else, it doesn't make sense. Because we all know, for instance, the last week when I came here, I told you about irregularities. I told you about certain things that go bad in elections. But you see, in every election, no election in the world has gone without irregularity. But if the irregularity will affect the election results materially, that is where a court can overturn the results. For instance, you cannot go and say that, oh, there is some polling station, you see that there are some 2 or 3 votes that were counted for another political party, and because of that, I'm going to court. If you go to court, they will even slap you for coming to waste the time of the court. And exactly what the NDC is doing. I saw their communication director, Sami Jemfi, catalog some 38 electoral polling stations, and said that those 38 polling stations, there've been some pardon, there've been some irregularities that happened and all that. And we said that we are talking about 38,000, close to 40,000, and you bring 38 polling stations and say that, and if you even add all the irregularities that he was talking about, you are getting about 1,200. And we are talking about the difference of 517,000 that Nana beat John Dramani Mahama. And you are bringing about 1,000 to come and waste people's time. So you can easily see that the best place the NDC can go and do their argument well is to go to the street, is to go and bear markets. And that's exactly what they are doing. And I think that John Dramani Mahama, the NDC, you are making your future elections very difficult for yourselves. He is disparaging his own image in the political scene. And as we are speaking, look, yesterday IDEC actually said it, that John Dramani Mahama legacy, I mean his credibility is now waning and waning fast in the international community. And I said that it is true. Because look, IDEC said it. The Peace Council has come to actually loud the election. Kodio has come out to actually ensure that the election was a free and fair election.
Which Kodio?
Kodio came out. Kodio came out.
The Kodio doesn't have credibility again.
Oh, Kodio doesn't have credibility.
Struggling to regain its
Kodio doesn't have credibility.
Oh, no.
IDEC doesn't have credibility.
Kodio is struggling to regain its credibility.
So Peace Council doesn't have credibility. And for you, NDC, anytime anybody comes to commend the election, then that person doesn't have credibility.
No, but Kodio, you know Kodio doesn't have credibility. Kodio says that their figures, the EC's figures were accurate.
They were accurate,
and then the EC changed the figures 8 times. And now they came back.
Oh, no, listen.
But did you
no.
Hold on.
I read, you see,
2 days on Thursday last week. Hold on. On Thursday last week. No, I'm not just speaking.
No, you are just speaking.
I have my fact.
No, you don't have fact.
On Thursday last week, on Thursday. Listen, on Thursday last week. I've forgotten his name. Kodio again came out to say that the EC should hold a public forum to address the challenges that the NDC and all the other political parties have with respect to the outcome of the election. What are you talking about?
No. But
it's not trying to now regain it. No. To say that you support.
No. Listen, when the Kodio says that what they had is in line with what the EC got, the Kodio normally use about 5.
Are you a spokesman for Kodio?
The Kodio use. No, I heard them.
Let me listen to you. Hold on.
I heard them explain it.
Hold on.
They use a percentage error of 5%, and this you see, plus or minus 5%.
Based on what?
Based on the percentage, because they said that it is in line. It almost 4.
See, and therein lies my challenge.
But they were not saying. You see,
the locals.
No. They have the locals. They did not say that.
What locals do they have?
They did not say that. Exactly the what they have recorded is what the EC recorded, but they said that the EC figures fall in line.
When did they say this?
With what they had?
When did they say this?
After the declaration.
Fantastic. And which pronouncements were also captured by news media portals and other platforms, right? We all read the very same thing you are referring to. We all understand. We all comprehend. We all have a better comprehension of the English language. I'm saying that the Kodio said that what they gathered is in tandem with what the EC put out.
It's fall in line.
It's fall in line. What does it mean?
Then
the EC changes.
You couldn't even comprehend what you said you can comprehend.
Excuse me.
Because
if somebody says something falls in line with something, what does it mean?
It's a lie because
what does it mean?
No, I'm not explaining to you.
What tip was
what I want tip?
Somebody says something is in time.
I am telling you that Kodio says that it's in line. Doesn't mean that it's exactly what the
So okay, the EC subsequently changed its figures 10 times. So which of them is in time?
Why are you lying?
8 times.
Look at you. You have moved from 10 to 8.
Let me give you the benefit of that.
You can't sit here and
the EC changed its figures subsequently after the declaration was made. Correct or wrong?
Yeah, because the EC itself.
So which one is in line?
Listen, the EC itself came out to say that they made a certain mistakes and they brought the correct.
So could they also factor those mistakes?
No, but that is the reason why I told you that Kodia has a 5%.
But that 5% margin does not fall
plus or minus.
The 5% margin. Hold on. It's talking about that. Kodia saying that the outcomes of their own assessment is in line with that of the EC, and factoring into that equation the 5% margin of error,
yes,
right, was in response to the immediate declaration that was made by the EC.
Yeah, so
the EC made a declaration and said the Akufo-Addo had won by this margin, right? So then Kodeo comes out to say that, we are in line with this particular, which means that they have factored into that particular decision.
That's 5%.
Not necessarily.
So if there is
not necessarily. But you see, the percentage plus or minus fall within the erroneous figure. But the corrected figure also fall on. Still
Master, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me come to that.
You get my point. You don't know what you're talking about. Please.
So somebody has said that.
You really don't know what you're talking about. Hold on. Listen.
Somebody has said that. Listen. You are saying
this
argument. Hold on.
This argument is not even about Kodio.
No, hold on. You brought in Kodio.
No problem.
It's important to address.
You go on.
Kodio comes out to say that per our checks, everything that the EC did was right. So our findings, what we found out of this election, is in line with what the EC has put out. What it means is that
look at your plus or minus,
everything factored into it. Hold on,
Kwame.
It's substantive.
Absolutely.
It is not 5%.
The 5% was predicated on the verdict that was given by the EC on the 9th of December. The EC comes on the 10th and changes the figures. So the
change figures still fall within. So what's your problem?
How do you determine that?
They still fall within the 5% point.
Massa.
But you see, then in concluding, but you see, in concluding, I will say that based on the fact that the NDC themselves are just deceiving their supporters. Now you go to some regions, they think even for real the NDC won the election. Some people even still contemplate that the NDC won the election, when in fact it is clear to everybody that NDC lost the election. There has never been a loss by an opposition party by a president of that magnitude before. 517,000 difference. And they are deceiving their supporters who are on the street, asking them to go to collation centers, asking them to mass at the EC registration offices. And now, when such people are being, shot at, the NDC themselves will turn around and say that they are killing our people. When in fact you are the people who are inciting them, lying to them that you have won an election, lying to them and making all manner of noise without presenting anything to the court. Do you think that if the NDC has actually won an election, but now they wouldn't run to the court? But because they have not won, now when you mention court to them, they say, hey, why are you mentioning court?
Thank you, Gabby. Let's hear from you.
Now the best place for them is to go and burn a market.
Kwame,
go and burn ties.
Thank you.
The topic we are discussing is NPP fingers NDC over market fires.
Yes.
And then this one, the printer didn't come to
NPP
NPP condemns burning of markets. Daybreak. The NPP is on a deliberate propaganda frenzy to place on the NDC since that the NDC has not committed. Yesterday in the Daily Guide and in what's the Supreme Court? Crusading Guide.
It is not Crusading Guide.
That's what?
It's guide. There's a guide somewhere.
New Crusading Guide.
New Crusading Guide and Daily Guide. Published stories claiming that the police have picked up an arsonist who is responsible for the Katamanto fires. This morning on Ghana Web, the story says police deny arrest of arsonist. Listen to the story, and the source is the GNA. The Accra Regional Police Command has denied that a man behind some market fires in some parts of Ghana has been arrested. Deputy Superintendent of Police, DSP Efia Tengi, head of Public Affairs Unit of the Command, told the Ghana News Agency in Accra on Monday. She said somebody somewhere might have concocted the story and that the police had never made such arrest. A section of the media on Monday, December 21st, reports that the Ghana Police Service had arrested an alleged arsonist behind the recent Kantamanto market fire. They quoted an Accra Daily which stated that the suspect, Daniel Komla, age 41, was identified through police investigations into the Kantamanto fires, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. This is the same story that they are continuing today. The NDC has never, the NDC has never been in the business of burning markets. We all know from the history of the NDC that if there's any government that has shown more interest in the market women and traders in this country, it is this political party. Throughout our history, we have built markets all across this country. From the time of President John Rawlings and his wife Hinokunedu to the 31st December Women's Movement, up until President Mahama, where we boast of markets such as the beautiful Kejetia market, Tafo market, Kotokwaba market, etc., even Makola market. Kwame, we have a challenge in this country where for the past 10-15 years, we've been recording a lot of market fires. That is a phenomenon that we have to work at addressing. Our markets are old. The design layout is old and outdated. We were using items which are flammable, like wood, to build market sheds for our people. These things are easily flammable. They catch fire and boom, everything goes up in flames. We have our populations increasing in the urban areas, and a lot of people, because of this informal setting, find their way into our markets to engage in some economic activity. There is congestion in this market. When a fire starts, it's difficult for fire service personnel, we call them first responders, to go and put out these flames on time, because it's a whole adventure in itself trying to get to the location of the fires. We have to take pragmatic steps to limit the number of fires we are recording in this country. 1, modernize our markets. 2, educate traders, market women, people who trade around these markets and economic installations about the need for fire safety preventive measures. Ban people from cooking and setting up flames in the market. Give wiring contracts to one proper electrical contractor, and not all these illegal connections that you find in every marketplace. The wires just snap and pop, there's a spark, and it starts a fire. This Kantamanto, sorry, the Koforidua fire, for example.
Yeah. I
was reading about what happened, and I'm told that it was an electric pole that just let off a spark, and then that started the fire. It burned down so many shops, including a rural bank.
With all the money in it.
Question is, what basic fire preventive measures have we been taught our traders? That when you see a small fire, pour sand on it. If we can't afford fire extinguishers, the business what's it called? Ghana Fire Service has this thing with small businesses where they come around to inspect your fire extinguishers. Yeah. Not everybody can afford a fire extinguisher, but at least we can all get a bucket of sand and put on standby just in case something happens. You put the sand on the fire to quench it down. Let's put hydrants, small mini hydrants, in this market to make it easier for our firefighters when they come and they're having difficulty moving their trucks into the market to be able to use these devices to sprinkle and put out the fire. Look at the response time it took for them to put out the fire at the Kantamanto Commercial Bank. With eyewitnesses said the fire started in the night. It was up until around 11 o'clock before firefighters got to the scene, because their trucks were empty and they're now going out to look for water. It was better with the Kaneshi market scenario, because from what I hear, it took them about 30 to 45 minutes response time to get there and douse the flames.
Right.
So only about 7 or 9 shops got burnt. But the challenge is, let's address the problem with market fires and stop NPP trying to incite the people against NDC because you are not excited about our demonstrations. The fact of the matter is that our demonstrations are beginning to get to you. Since you claim you won, you have not been able to celebrate anything. We are the people burning what? In 2013, when you took the NDC and the EC to Supreme Court, were you not the ones who were also burning the market? Are you not the ones with the history?
Also burning.
Are you not the ones with the history
now you
of
accepted that you are
market?
burning market.
Are you not the one with history of burning market?
So that time,
when they asked your chairman, he said, when they asked your chairman, he said it was nice. It was nice. It was nice.
To burn markets.
It was nice that we're chewing the wires and setting the markets on fire. That is what their chairman said. That's what he said. And what's the other one? Honorable Efi. That it was nice.
So that time the market did not have wooden.
The NDC has options available to them in addressing this election declaration that we have said we do not agree with.
So what's your figure?
According to the Constitution,
so what is your figure?
We have the fundamental human rights guaranteed to us to go on demonstrations. This morning at 10 o'clock, our members of parliament are going from Parliament House to the EC by foot. I entreat all Ghanaians who are available
so you won't go
to go and join them. I have not finished.
Okay.
Our numbers, we are collating our data in building our case at the Supreme Court. Don't look at me like that.
So you go to
at the Supreme Court.
Heftily.
Are you the ones who are going to pay? Kwame, in 2012, it took them 2 days to the end of the year to go to the Supreme Court.
No, but
today is 23rd December. Today is 23rd December. And in the limit says we have end of December. The limit says we have end of December. Yes. Today is 23rd.
So you have 7 days.
What is your problem? Are you the ones who pay our bills for us? What's your beef with go to court? We are free to demonstrate so long as we are not destroying people's properties and we are doing it in peace. Even the Ghana Pentecostal Council and Charismatic Church Council agrees that we have every right to demonstrate. Human rights lawyers have come out to tell everybody that we have the right to demonstrate. It is guaranteed in the Constitution. So please allow us to demonstrate. Today, Bupe is going on a demonstration. In fact, tomorrow is I've forgotten who's going tomorrow. But they should not come and push us. Yes.
Oh, okay.
They should not push us. We are still. We are
still. That's one off.
But you saw what we did.
That's one off.
But somebody has decided
to announce that we
will vandalize properties and things like that.
And then identified 38 constituencies. Was he expecting Sami Jeffrey to come and put out all the 38,000 police stations? Why should we put out our facts and figures before the NPP? It's the people of Ghana. We are interested in conversing, not the NPP.
If you have those,
thank you very much.
So they should stop
the issue has come to the bank. All of
let
them.
me, Kwame, this whole thing about NPP fingering NDC, I don't buy it. With regards to the market fires, I will not buy from the NPP. If the Ghana Police Service was to, accuse the NDC of certain fires, that I will take seriously. And my position is because I want to, in my utterances and in my support, be able to, support the institutions of state and the institutions of democracy so that they are strengthened. You understand? So, NPP, when they say NDC has, set fire to a market.
What do you expect?
I treat it with...
So we are not Ghanaians?
You are Ghanaians, but you are not the police. You understand? You are an interested party that escaped electoral defeat by the skin of your teeth. So you cannot... And in any case, we know the history of this country. It is you, the NPP, that has a history not only of setting fires, but throwing bombs and even trying to assassinate president.
You know what
Let me land. Even look. It is the NPP that has a reputation to throw bombs and burn people's fire. We have it all documented. So please don't come and try and throw dust in the eyes of the Ghanaians. Of course, we understand that under Nana Akufo-Addo, the NPP is seeking to be better, and we wish you well. I'd rather place my stock in the Ghana police, and the security services. You understand? But Kwame, another thing that I'd like to do is to call for calm from the NDC. You see, and advise them to proceed by process. Remembering that they are stakeholders in this democracy, important stakeholders. And when I look at former President John Mahama, I have a great admiration for the gentleman. I like his demeanor. I think President Mahama is a calm man by the grace of God and to the advantage of Ghana. You understand? Because if he was like some other political leaders we know,
But he has
now,
even 2016, he never
I'll just urge the NDC to continue to protest, okay? Because protest can support legal action in court. So the NDC should not stop their timetable of several demonstrations. You said tomorrow, which timetable? Where are you going tomorrow? So continue demonstrating and go to court as well. All of these activities are important, even economically, because these parliamentarians that are supposed to walk to from Parliament to the EC, they'll be drinking water. Some of them will be buying elewonyo on the way, Sobolo, Burkina, and it will be improving the economic turnover for people, on the streets. You see, so that is also very, very, very important. Kwame, President Mahama would never allow the NDC to set fire to markets. Excuse me. You see, this is because the gentleman, President Mahama, has built the most fantastic market in the country. I don't know if you've been to KJTR. Me, I'm from a Kumasi boy. I know KJTR well. I used to go to the Kumasi Zoo, every August the 12th, when my family and I went to St. Mary's Sanctuary at Buoho to, Ascension Day. And when we are returning, we always went to the zoo.
Which year was that?
It happens every year.
Which year did you
I'm telling you, to where?
The last time you've been there?
To the zoo.
Yeah.
The zoo has been moved, but I was at the KJTR market 3 weeks ago. And I was very impressed because I grew up knowing KJTR and the mud at KJTR in the rainy season. You couldn't do anything at KJTR. And then I went to KJTR 3 weeks ago, and President Mahama, by the grace of God, has put up a world-class market there. Fantastic. It's nicer than Accra Mall. It's nicer than the mall at
that place is really
at
nice.
Kaswa.
Yeah.
You understand? It's a fantastic edifice. In fact, why would President Mahama want people to burn markets when he's spending so much to do these markets? And I've always said that, I'm happy that the market is in Kumasi, my hometown. But politically speaking, I wish President Mahama had taken it to Hohoi. If President Mahama had put that market at Hohoi, it would transform not only the Volta region, but Middle Togo and Middle Benin.
No, but we had plans to put one at Aflao.
At Aflao?
Yes.
Okay.
We
We suggest
when they overturn the elections,
Sure.
and we have a rerun.
you take it. I'll suggest Hohoi, and not because of Peter Amewu, not because of Peter Amewu, but I think Hohoi is a good spot. You understand? So any talk that the NDC is going around burning fires, it's mischievous. The NPP can do better. You understand? You can do better. Please stop this political mischief. You understand? So I'll just continue to strongly appeal to the NDC, to proceed by process. If the NDC wishes to go to court, they should do so. I believe in demonstrations. Indeed, when you look at the cradle of democracy, as we say, the United States, you take a look at what happened over the past summer and the demonstrations, you understand, which backed several court actions, etc. Demonstrations are important. I encourage the people, the NDC supporters, to continue to legally demonstrate. You understand? And I also insist that the president must compensate the people of Akpafu and Lolobi for depriving them of their parliamentary representation. Thank you. Thank you.
You see, when I was talking about it, because he brought the demeanor of Mr. Mahama and all that.
But he's a nice man
please,
with a calm
you have made
demeanor.
your point.
Oh, okay.
You see, when I was talking, I said that, look, sometimes you can flatter to deceive. You can, portray yourself in a way that you are not. Because I'm saying this because look at even 2016, when it was palpable to all, including even the most uninitiated, that the President Mahama had lost the elections. He still did not want to concede defeat until the Otumfuo Osenjo II actually intervened.
It is a lie.
So, for some of us, it came as no surprise that he is still being adamant.
All right, thank you. Gabriela, you want to also
you understand what I'm saying?
In a submission, he said never before has any president outdone his opponents by 517,000.
By certain president.
In 2016, a certain president
has
been able to beat his rival by 20.
By 517,000.
Okay. In 1996.
No.
President Rollins.
President Rollins.
This candidate
now we are talking about
1.2 million.
You're talking about President Rollins.
1.2 million.
Thank you. We don't like Thank you, Gabi. Thank you, Saka. Thank you, Soprano. Thank you for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. My name is Kwame Owusu. So it's been an absolute pleasure serving you. I trust that you had a lot of fun. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day. God bless. Bye-bye.